Top Ranks Bob Arum ripped the Canelo Triple G 2 HBO pay-per-view and how it was handled. Stay tuned. Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. 1. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing if you want to become part of the gang. Notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chat channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, off the heels of Canelo versus Triple G 2, great fight for boxing, great main event. Bob Arum, he talked to Sirius XM Boxing, and he gave his thoughts on the pay-per-view and how it was handled by HBO and the telecast in general. He says, and I quote, let me tell you, the people who did the telecast should be horsewhipped. They had nothing fights on the undercard, and now this is a big boxing fight of the year, and to have people with television and in the arena sit around for nearly 2 hours waiting for the fight to start, what the hell was that? You have to have somebody with some planning. They start the thing at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Why the hell would you start at 5 p.m.? Well, maybe the fights go the distance. The chances of those fights going the distance were remote. They were one-sided fights with guys who were knockout punchers. The fact that they got 9 rounds out of the 3 fights is a miracle. All 3 could have ended in the first round. It was between an hour and a half and 2 hours that people had to wait. I have never seen anything like it. At the beginning, they played an interview with Canelo, and an hour later, they played the interview again. It was the most horribly produced telecast for a big pay-per-view event that I've ever seen. And maybe it's appropriate that the time is right for HBO to get out of boxing. End quote. Damn. Listen, new media, Ego's army. I've been saying very similar things like about HBO and the dwindling quality of their programming for boxing, right? I've been telling you guys when they were doing budget cuts, when they had top ranked fighters still on there, like Crawford Postal that year, people said I was hating. People said Showtime sucks. Showtime ain't shit. They can't hold a candle to HBO. VH1, where are they now? You know, it's just like, this is amazing. All these YouTube channels, and they were fighting and pleading and saying, no, HBO still's the best and stuff like that. HBO's been going in the wrong direction for its boxing fans for quite some time. I have no problem with any network, ESPN, Showtime, HBO, but Bob Arum has a point. The only thing I disagree with, it's not that I even disagree with, but I think he's one to talk. Just because he was saying, oh, the undercard wasn't stacked and there were one-sided fights. Top Rank has done that too. You know, let's be honest. You look at Lomachenko versus Jorge Linares or some shit. It's not really memorable fights that we remember on the undercard. I mean, when's the last time you seen a stacked undercard like that with like a highly competitive fight? You know, like, I don't know, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney or something. It's not like, you know, Ryan Garcia, Shakur Stevenson were fighting on the Jorge Linares Lomachenko undercard, or Lomachenko Rigondeaux, or Crawford Horn, you know? So, I mean, I think except for Al Heyman, Al Heyman is really the one who's loading up the cards with some, you know, pretty good undercards where you might get Adrian Broner versus Jesse Vargas, but you also have Tank versus Cuellar, former champion, and Charlo versus Hugo Centeno in an eliminator, you know, stuff like that. But the basis of what he's saying about HBO getting out of boxing, I don't care if they get out or stay in, but they will be forced out if they don't ramp it up. You know, Canelo's out of his contract with HBO, so he's a free agent. You know, he got the belts. If he leaves the network, I really don't see what HBO is going to do in boxing. You have Eddie Hearn. He's starting this new venture with the streaming app DAZN, so he has, you know, billionaires and investors, and his sights are set on that. This weekend we'll see Joshua Povetkin on there. Then after, he has some fights, Jesse Vargas, Thomas Delorme. They just announced the announcement crew. It's like Sugar Ray Leonard and, you know, Chris Mannix, you know, writers and just different stuff like that. So in my opinion, Showtime has been killing. You know, they've been putting on the most fights, quality, quantity. ESPN's right behind them in terms of what you're getting. You're getting some good main events. ESPN Plus, they've been putting on some good fights. ESPN, you know, keeping us busy as boxing fans. HBO is the one that's been lacking in terms of just overall. The HBO main event, Canelo versus Triple G, definitely was a fight of the year, so that helped. I didn't really have a problem with the undercard, but like Bob Arum is saying, the only thing that made no sense is that you did put him in these fights that had the potential to end very early, and you also had basically fights that are, you know, that are one-sided, and at the end of the day, they end up playing out like that, and then now fans are waiting an hour and 35 minutes, hour 40 minutes just for the main event. You know, especially at home is one thing, because I would remember, if you guys were on my channel, I did a live stream and I said, just let me know when the main event's coming on. I did a whole long ass live stream, you know, to kill time. But really, what about the people in the audience? You know, they can't leave. You know, you already dressed up and dressed out. You already got your purses and your valuables checked and stuff through security. Nobody's gonna leave the venue before the main event and then try to come back in. You know, you mess around and lose your ticket, drop it outside or some shit like that, and can't get back in. So that is a lengthy intermission, and I agree with Bob Arum. I've never seen that for a major pay-per-view. You know, and the other thing that really made no sense is, usually to compensate for that, they will have more undercard fights, you know? Like, they'll have some other fights that they can just stage in the middle. Like, okay, bring this guy out. And then like sometimes when I go to Premier Boxing Champs, so like when I went to New York for Berto versus Devin Alexander, that was on FS1, if I'm not mistaken. That was the main event, and it had a certain time slot it had to fill. So after that fight ended, the rest of the card resumed, and they had like the Dynamite chick. She was fighting on her fight, and that happened after the main event. So I've seen them do stuff like that, where they tweak things around to make sure a certain fight is cast between a certain time, you know. But I've never seen quite what happened with the Canelo Triple G 2 card. And HBO, to me, they've been showing a lack of respect for its boxing fans. You know, I don't know if they think most of their dollars or money is coming back, their ratings is coming back from Game of Thrones and Insecure and their TV shows, LeBron James new shows, stuff like that, Ballers, so they don't care. I don't really know, but they're not doing a great job appeasing. Again, it was a good main event, so that was a fortunate thing, but too far and few in between. And then you have all these promoters like Top Rank. They did a 7-year deal with ESPN, so you know that hurts HBO, because Top Rank has a lot of quality fighters, from Shakur Stevenson, Mick Connellan, Michaela Mayer, obviously the star fighters like Vasyl Lomachenko, Terrence Crawford, Teofimo Lopez is exciting, and none of them are on the network anymore. You know, Al Heyman's fighters have been off the network. So stars like Errol Spence Jr. doing sellout crowds in Texas at their practice stadium for the Cowboys, not on HBO. Broner, you know, he's a mouthpiece and fun fighter to watch, not on HBO. So it's just like, and then Eddie Hearn, Joshua and Showtime were bidding for AJ, and then he stayed with Showtime for a while, and then now it looks like he's gonna be working with DAZN or whatever. So, you know, what is HBO gonna do? So Bob Arum, he definitely, I don't always agree with Bob Arum, but he definitely has a point. It's just like pretty poor planning that you would have that, like, and that you wouldn't account for that and have like a backup plan. It's just like, what is HBO Sports thinking? What are they doing? Another thing that as a boxing fan that I don't understand is a mega fight, your biggest fight of your whole calendar year, you don't even do an HBO face-off with Max Kellerman. You know, that just seems really weak. And then you do an HBO 24/7, you literally do one episode, you know, but they steadily keep giving Jim Lampley fight game episodes. Boxing fans don't really care about the fight game, you know. By and large, I haven't seen anybody, like I don't see anybody making YouTube videos saying this is my Jim Lampley fight game review. You know, people do that about the Gloves Are Off series or Face Off or 24/7. They give their reviews on YouTube and stuff like that. So to me, it just seems like HBO Sports is really out of touch with the boxing fans and what they desire. You know, you got the budget to give Jim Lampley his show, The Fight Game, yet you can only do one episode of Canelo versus Triple G. To make the most money, it's gonna take some money, you know, and I don't really think certain things would cost much. I understand you have to send a camera crew out, but you know, you can splurge a little bit. You know, you have to send a camera crew out to Big Bear and San Diego. You could do that in back-to-back. You know, you get them a hotel for 2-3 days, maybe, and that's a back-to-back trip. You know, it's basically in the same vicinity for Canelo and Golovkin because of where they train. And you can't even do that for boxing fans. HBO Face Off. All you have to do, they did a press date, you know. So that same day, bring them into a LA studio, film the Face Off with Max Kellerman, right? One episode, 20-30 minutes. Especially with all this meldonium. And, you know, some people are going to say, oh, it's Canelo's fault, he didn't want to. But, you know, you could at least did more episodes of HBO 24/7, even if you didn't do a face-off. So, I mean, and you should really be trying to convince Canelo. Like, you're a network. Like, yo, we really need this from you. You know, we need you to pull your weight with the promotion and stuff like that. So, just weird decisions like that, you know. Alida Alvarez versus Sergey Kovalev. That's going to be on ESPN. You know, Miguel Berchelt versus Mickey Roman, guys who have been on HBO. That's not going to be on HBO. It's just like, it looks like the end is near, you know. What fights are they getting? You know, Daniel Jacobs, Derevyanchenko, that's cool. But in terms of major fights, the last major fight they had, Canelo Triple G, delivered. But for the rest of the year, they don't have any. I'm not saying they don't have a good, like, I want to see Jacobs versus Derevyanchenko for sure. But I can't think of any other major fights like that rival Mayweather-Pacquiao 2 or Wilder versus Fury or, you know, Anthony Joshua fighting Povetkin even. Like, name a fight that they have for the rest of the year that you think is really bigger than any of those fights. Let me know what you guys think of Bob Arum's comments and my commentary. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego. Signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.